came over a hill and he was in the road. My truck missed him, but my trailer didn't. September 3rd, 2015. I was on the side of a road, kneeling in the dirt. A broken body in front of me. A 3.5-year-old little boy.
Cosplay. It's defined by Merriam-Webster as the activity or practice of dressing up as a character from a work of fiction. But it can be so much more than simply putting on a costume. It's a passionate expression people have for a fictional world that they love. Cosplayers are a community of crafters.
So this is poison ivy. This was super fun to make. Because the leaves all came on vines, so I cut them off individually and then I glued it to this lovely bodysuit. So I made the bodysuit, I sewed together a bra and just like a regular kind of unitard, I guess.
Designers.
So I did go to school for art, and this is just a fun avenue that you can take your art with. No, this is fun. I highly recommend it.
And the reasons often run deep.
I dressed up as Wonder Woman for the first time a couple years back, and all the kids loved me, and I was told that I was the perfect height for the position, and I embodied Wonder Woman, and so my height became a blessing, and it became an amazing thing.
And every once in a while, they get organized.
Who are we? We are the League of Enchantment, a Michigan-based 501c nonprofit that coordinates with community groups, police, fire, cancer support. The League was founded about 2.5-3 years ago with Brittany Billinghurst and Dominic Valentin, who established the League. It started out after a hospital visit that they were involved in. They wanted to make it grow, but they didn't have the ability. I came on board under the guise of Lansing Batman. I've been working with the American Cancer Society. I had a notebook of ideas and no people to help me. I got Brittany to sit down by teasing her with ice cream. And before we left there, we had decided to join forces, and that was in November of that year. I reeled in She-Hulk, who was Wonder Woman. And by January, we had decided to file to become a nonprofit, and shortly thereafter we were, and our world exploded.
So, hello, my name is Rocket Raccoon. This is my big friend. I am Groot. My name is Ryan McConnell. I am a freelance illustrator.
Make sure you introduce yourself so the masses know who you are.
Oh, I'm Sarah.
Iron Man, we're gonna make her an Avenger. Say it, you're an Avenger now, kid.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I've been waiting my whole life for this moment.
I know.
It's grown so much in the last year. It's kind of crazy how many members we've developed over the last year.
How many members did you have a year ago?
A year ago, probably 40 maybe. Functionally, probably 30. Now we're at 80, and they're all functional members. Functional members do at least 3 events a year, and most of our members do 3 events a month.
At least.
I mean, went from the first year working with basically one hospital, which was Mott, to now working with 5. We're doing a hospital visit every week. Mm-hmm. Now Toledo Hospital wants us to come down and visit the children's cancer ward.
That's going to be a lot of growing pains for the organization since you've landed in the seat.
Yeah, it's constantly learning how to organize and who fits what better. You know, and a lot of it in the beginning was guesswork.
I've been with the League of Enchantment for almost a year. I've been doing charity groups though for almost 2 years now. It's just been busy. I mean, If you're a cosplayer and you want more stuff to do, join a charity group. There's lots of stuff to do. It's great, honestly, when you start doing the charity, because you're not sure what to think at first. And then once you start doing it, you know, you get all the kids smiling and the high fives and the hugs, which, you know, obviously you don't expect, but those are always welcome. And that just makes it just that much more worth it.
Hi there.
Look, you're taller than I am.
I am. Take it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We had a visit this last week, and we walked in, and this little boy, it's his first time at the hospital, and he was so excited to meet Batman. And we gave him a toy, gave him hugs, talked to him, and it made his day. But it didn't just make his day. It made his parents and the doctors and the nurses that were in there, because they saw this little boy that was laying in the bed and couldn't do anything. And the parents, their child had never been in this situation. They didn't know what to do, and they were at a loss. And their kid lit up, and he was smiling, and he was happy because he got to meet his favorite superheroes.
I remember when I had a family member pass away and I was trying to do the 3-hour ride home, I stopped at a McDonald's to grab a shake because I needed something to eat, and the person in front of me in line paid for my order and pulled up and they said they paid for it, and I just ugly cried because I needed it so bad because I was going home alone and I was driving 3 hours when I just found out somebody had passed away, and it completely broke me because somebody could do something that kind in a moment when I needed it. And so you start to see those little things that you can do just any time to make somebody's life better, even just a smile and a hi. I like your hair, your shirt, whatever. It ripples out amongst everybody.
The unselfish gestures.
Yes. Doing this, you kind of start to see those little gestures in everything. Yeah. That you do. And I mean, you never know how much, the person behind you in line at the store needs it.
I don't know of one person that's part of the league that doesn't have something in their past that they're working through. Whether it's anxiety, depression, body issues, bullying, PTSD, you name it. We have a member that's struggling with it. And doing the community events and visiting the kids and making their day better is what helps them get through it. They leave their self at the door, all the burdens of the day, they leave at the door and they come in and they're Wonder Woman, they're Batman, they're Elsa. And that's what that kid sees and that's what that kid needs, and it's absolutely incredible.
I'm a maker. I love making things, and I've always been crafty of crocheting, doing stuff. And that's really kind of how I channel my anxiety into it. And I go through definite bouts of depression that'll last weeks, and I can always tell when I've been on a slope and feeling really down, and then I go, when was the last time I worked on something? Oh, it's been a while. All right, need to make something again.
As we do visits in hospitals, it can extend into the community at large. As we've done work with the American Cancer Society, we become icons with that, and the cancer survivors themselves start seeing us as more than just who we are. The impact grows with every meeting we have. Somebody gets to stand on stage at the American Breast Cancer kickoff every year for the entire state and do speeches with Olympians. Wonder Woman. It becomes iconic to those women going through breast cancer to meet Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman then becomes more than just a person. She becomes a symbol for the hope and healing of what they're going through. So our impact extends beyond just ourselves. We have to constantly think of what we're doing and why we do it.
And once I found out what everybody was doing and how they, reached out to everybody and using their cosplay for a good cause, I looked at that as being something that would be way better than just doing a costume and not just being proud of what you made, but being proud of what you do. Hospital visits can be kind of tough, but it's funny because the first time I did one, I thought that it was going to be really, really tough. But the kids, when they get the smiles on their faces, some of them don't smile until they see you. and their parents haven't seen them smile the whole time they've been in there, and then we walk in and they're lit up in their face. And it actually feels really, really good seeing that we were able to make them happy. So it can be hard, but you kind of have to like hold that in and let them know you're there for them, because they already deal with tough stuff when they're there all day long. So we're trying to give them a break from that.
You can be having the worst week ever, and you get suited up as a princess or a superhero, and you go and visit kids at a hospital or go to a school, and their faces light up. I do Elsa, and I've had a little girl where I step out of the room and she is to that wall and she just screams, Elsa, and runs all the way down to me. So you get into this hug and just get tackled, and they are beaming ear to ear, and you cannot be sad in that moment.
When we step into those rooms, we embody that character. I have to be Batman when I walk through that door. The whole time I'm in there to when I walk back out. I don't smile. I'm sullen. I tend to stand back somewhat. I interact with the kids, fist bumps, things like that, but I am the character. I'm not Seamus Smith. I'm Batman. The kid has to know that I am that character. We want them to remember for days, weeks, months, or even years later that they got to meet that person. It's a totally different feel than what you feel out on a con floor. People here are expecting to see you. The kid in the bed, they're not. They don't expect to see anybody. We've seen it when we walk into a room. Kid in the bed, covered in tubes, chests covered in yellow stuff to guide the doctors, looking frustrated, angry, or sullen, to suddenly smiling, trying to sit up. Their attitude changes. Next to us or behind us, the parents. They get a moment of relief. They might have been awake for a day, 2, 3, 4 days. They get to see their kid suddenly happy, suddenly smiling, coming to life again. But then the doctor walks in, sees the parent, sees the kid, sees us, and we have pictures of this. Doctors we didn't know were in the room, smiling behind us, laughing behind us. We go out, the nurse's station stops us, wants to meet all of us, wants to take a picture with us, wants a comic book left at the desk. The entire floor changes. The attitudes, everything else changes. When you create that amount of positivity, the chemicals in your brains change. The healing accelerates. Not just for the kid in the bed, not just for the parent, not just for the doctor, not just for the nurse, the person in the suit. Everyone in this room needs some form of healing. September 3rd, 2015. I was on the side of a road, kneeling in the dirt. A broken body in front of me. A 3.5-year-old little boy. I'd been coming home from work. It rained that day. It was about 4:30 in the afternoon. I came over a hill and he was in the road. My truck missed him, but my trailer didn't. It threw him 90 feet, broke his arm, his leg, shattered his pelvic girdle, fractured his skull, blew his spleen apart. He landed on the side of the road. I was able to run back to him. At the same time I got there, his mother, who had been standing at the mailbox that I missed by 6 inches, made it there too. I held his leg. My hand was covered in blood. To this day, I still wash my hands constantly as I see it. She rolled him over when he died and resuscitated him in front of me. The father and I were more than a hot mess. Somebody dragged me up, ambulances showed up, and I stood on the side of the road for 4 straight hours. I didn't know if he'd survived for a week. I didn't sleep. I have nightmares to this day. I got a call the Thursday a week later from a man who ran a coffee shop to let me know how to contact him. I was able to leave a message on their Facebook page, and the aunt called me in about 10 seconds flat. I started crying in a driveway and had to sit on the ground for 2 hours. He'd survived.
Before you go that way, can I get a picture of you?
Yes, with me, of us, what are we doing?
Together.
Halfway towards me. Halfway towards you? I mean, we could interview these superheroes that we found in a hallway. Mostly standing by brickwork. Okay. Here we go.
Can you hear?
Can you hear?
Yeah.
I struggle now with PTSD from it. When I got to meet him, I found out he liked superheroes. He liked Superman and Batman was his favorite. Funny enough, growing up, Batman was my favorite. So I went online and I bought a cheap Batman suit from Ruby's. I modified it as much as I could. And I was going to show up at the fundraiser for him so he could meet Batman. When I first got to meet them and I pulled up in that driveway, it took me about 15 minutes to get out of my door. The door to their house was probably 20 feet, and it seemed like it took 2 hours to walk that far. It was the most scary thing I've ever done. And when I knocked, I expected to be punched or hit or kicked or spit on or something. I killed their son. I sent him to the hospital. I would have expected it. She hugged me, and we both cried in the entryway. And then she introduced me to him. He was heavily drugged, couldn't understand much. He couldn't really do anything. We sat there and we watched Batman versus Superman. After the fundraiser, I realized I never even got to take Batman out of my car. So there was a trunk or treat event about a week later, and I put it on, went to that. The response from the kids was amazing, and I slept. I hadn't slept the whole night since the accident. I know there was probably 4 or 5 days where I didn't sleep at all. And I realized there was something more to this. Something more to the gorilla suit I had in my basement that I used to snowblow, or the Batman suit that I now had, or any of the other weird things I've always done in my life. I realized we could do more with this. So I went to a relay, cancer relay. Next thing I know, I was dragged into the American Cancer Society's headquarters, and they asked me to start showing up to stuff. I helped somebody in Tennessee with leukemia. Hollywood stuntman called me. Next thing I know, there were suits and cowls and batarangs and all kinds of things showing up at my front door. My life changed in that minute. Now every time we go to the hospital and we meet a kid, or we talk about anti-bullying, or we go to a school, or we help the Cancer Society or our community partner now Make-A-Wish, I can sleep better. I'll never be fine. I'll never get through this. But it's a lot better than it was 3.5 years ago. Putting on these suits makes us more. This community has so much to give to people. Cosplayers is what I'm talking about when I say community. When we walk around on that floor, we become somebody else. We're able to relax. We can put on dragon costumes, lights, wear a wig, whatever it is, and we relax. We forget about out there. We forget about the people that caused us pain. We forget about those stresses in life. Those things are magical. Where else could you be a Ghostbuster? Or Harley? Or any of the hundreds of other things that we get to be. It's a special, special moment that we all share. Deadpool gets to hug other Deadpools. You know, Wonder Woman gets to meet 15 different Wonder Womans that are all different heights. From the little girl in the stroller, to the girl that's 6'1" as well, and show them what the power of this can do. In our group, we have 7 members on our board. We talk about that moment. There's that moment in all of your lives where you wanted to put on whatever it is you're wearing. Or there's a moment that made you change, a moment that made you put that on. That moment creates ripples. Interacting with one other person creates a ripple. You've made somebody else happy, you've made somebody else smile, you've changed their perception. You create happiness with one person, what do they do with it? Those ripples carry forth. What we do with our cosplays can carry forth. It can help us heal. It can help us with our struggles. It can help us with our anxiety. Some of us with body image. Any of those things can help us through cosplay. You guys have questions?
I had a question. It's one they hear quite a bit. How can I join? It's too easy to look out the window or open a web browser and see nothing but the turmoil and conflict in our society. So it's amazing to find one thing that we can all actually agree on.
We're all here to help, to make things better.